Hello? Hello, perfect. Okay, the microphone is working. A little bit of a technical glitch. Luckily, I solved it quick, and here we go. Hello and welcome to. Oh, something's up with my microphone. Hey, something I might have to switch to another microphone. Um, yeah. Okay, I just have to switch to this microphone. That's all that's to it. Unfortunately, that is the deal. This is not the, it is obviously not the best microphone that exists, but it's all that we got for now. Okay, and sorry about that. Hello and welcome to the Global Racing League MX5 Cup Challenge. Here we go at Osher Bled. How do you even say this? How'd you say this track? Oschersleben. Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. We have with us, I think it's 11 drivers joining us on the grid here for this evening. This is going to be a super heat. These guys have 4 laps to try and qualify with their best possible time. Here they go round the track. We can actually pull up a track map right here, and it can give you an idea of what the layout looks like. It's quite a twisty track. I personally love it. We're just following along with Tom Peters. We're going to take a little bit of a switch over to Brandon Lynn. I love that plaid. It's on the Scottish lad. The Scottish lad there with this plaid. He's going around into the little chicane. There's a slowdown there on the inside if you're brave enough to try and get close to it. There's a lot of time to be gained on that exit, of course, if you use all of that track. And so it's going to be really interesting because of that slowdown that can happen on that corner. Really curious to see how that plays out. So of course, after our qualifying, which is 4 laps to qualify, we're going to have 10-minute race where you start exactly where you gridded in your qualifying. So you start exactly where you grid, and then after that, It'll be a 15-minute race. Ooh, baby, hear the sound of the buzzing bees. After that, the second race will be a 15-minute race, and that is going to be a reverse grid of the top 4. And then the last race is going to be a reverse grid of the top 8 with a 15-minute race. I'm going to just try and adjust the microphone just a tiny bit, see if I can get it to be in a little bit of a better spot for me. As I was saying, unfortunately, I don't have my, I came a little bit last minute, I don't have my normal studio microphone to be used right now, so I'm just trying my best. And I don't want that there. It looks like everyone has finished their qualifying. So now I'm going to see if I can pull up the grid. Not quite. There goes Franco Aguirre just coming on in. He's still got some laps to do. Let's see where he is on the track. He's coming into turn 1. He's not going to be able to finish this lap for sure. But turn 1, turn 2, let's see if we can get a great view of that as they go through here. Nice long right-hander. You really have to play with that throttle as you exit that corner. And it looks like he's finished his lap. Okay, perfect. We'll have to go through a little bit more of the track later on, and I'll be able to pull up the qualifying results right about now. I'm going to try and bring the microphone a little bit louder, see if that helps. I hope that it's loud enough. I think it is. I hope it is. Anyhow, now I'm able to pull up the qualifying results for our very first race, and let's see. Let's see what that looks like. On the very first car in the front row here, Andres Navarra on pole position, 3/10 ahead of P2 of Tom Peters. Congratulations, Andres, for that pole position. Where's Ivan? Where is he? Brandon Lynn is going to be in 3rd. Franco Aguirre is in 4th. Dylan Larson on 5th. The Master of the Rain. Vlad Sanchez is in 6th. Christian Rojas in 7th. Ivanhoe in 8th. Mark Sherman in 9th. Anthony Farmer in 10th. And Thomas McLeod looks like he did not set a qualifying time, unfortunately. So he'll be starting at the very back of the grid. Let's pull down our qualifying results and take a quick peek at these cars, who are now starting to line up on our qualifying, or on our grid. I'm going to just pull that down so that we can also see. Here we go. Look at that. Sour Patch Kids, car number 14. This is Tom Peters in P2. I like that. I really do like that. There is Brandon Lynn, car number 18. There's the Plaid. There's Franco Aguirre, the Endurance Master, and then also something happened. He just lost a lot of time in the second endurance race, unfortunately for him. We are still waiting for some cars to grid. Looks like we're waiting on one more car to grid. There we go. That is the last car that is now set himself onto the grid. We are getting the lights up in the top middle of our screen. We are going to be ready to go any second now. 5 green lights.
Green flag.
And the lights are off, and away we go. There's Barney on the right side waving those green flags, ready to start this race as we head into turn 1. Andres Navarra is clearly in the lead, getting a really good launch. There's Franco Aguirre up the inside on Brandon Lynn. 1 position gain potentially, and Sour Patch Kids is being encircled by cars, while Ivanhoe goes off in turn 1. Cold Tires is biting him in the butt. Oh, that's all I gotta say there. We're gonna pull up that timing tower so we can see very quickly who has gained, who has lost. It looks like Vlad Sanchez is up 1 position. Dylan Larson has lost 1 spot, and Andres Navarra has built quite a decent gap for himself as we now round in themselves. This is quite a lovely part of the track. You gotta hang it left, then hang it right, and this is basically a giant carousel, not much banking. You just have to trust that the grip of the car is there as you send it, and ramp up your throttle nice and slowly. And here we do the same thing. This track is really all about how you apply your throttle. If you apply your throttle too abruptly, this track will absolutely hurt you. It is not going to be your best friend. As you can see right here, everyone's very, very, very close together. Ivanhoe is way behind. Brandon Lynn, oh, and something is happening. It looks like Tom Peters has a slowdown. He's having to serve a slowdown, and that is going to hurt his race. He is now down 2 positions total. Vlad Sanchez also trying to take advantage of that slowdown that Tom Peters had to serve. Is Dylan Larson in the back there? Is he going to be looking to make a pass on this as well? It looks like it's going to be close. There goes Tom Peters. It's going to be inside outside. It's going to switch as they go through turn 2. Tom Peters is able to stay ahead of Pizza Boy. Pizza Boy not able to get that position. A little further back, it looks like Dylan Larson's down 1 position. Mark Sherman and Christian Rojas now battling it out for P7. This is anybody's race. A little bit of an off track from Christian Rojas. Does that leave him open for attack? Christian is throwing a little bit of a defensive line. He's saying, do not go up the inside of me. I want you to pass me later. Not now. Not quite yet. And here we go. I'm going to pull up this track map, because this track map, it'll tell you the whole story of where are they on the track. And you can actually see as well on our timing tower, Andres Navarro, the gap that he's created to second place. That is sizable gap, I gotta say. 1.5 seconds. These cars do have a lot of draft. So 1.5 seconds, he's not necessarily clear from P2. If P2 and P3 here, of Brandon and Franco, these guys work together, Andres could still be in trouble, very much so. Andres using all of the track, but not too much. He's definitely staying on track as you see him going through the final sequence of corners onto that start-finish line straight. And we can see on the intervals on the timing tower how much draft second place has at 1.6. It's not a sizable amount, but it's absolutely still there. So look to Brandon Lynn and watch through the timing tower and that track map potentially to see if he can actually make use of it. That first corner sequence has caught Andres with his pants down. It looks like Brandon Lynn able to catch back up. 1 mistake and it could be the loss of your race. There's 6 minutes to go. Andres Navarro has now lost that gap that he once held to second place. And that, you know, if you look P1 all the way to P6, you got Andres, Brandon, Franco, Tom, Vlad, Dylan, all within contact of each other. All of these drivers have the potential currently to win the race. And now Christian Rojas and Mark Sherman also in contact to that leader. 1 tiny mistake from any of these guys. I know it's only 6 minutes remaining, but that draft, trust me, it is powerful. Do not take that for granted. Dylan Larson looks to be trying to take advantage of a mistake from Vlad Sanchez. Not able to get over that. Diving back behind Vlad. Under braking and thinking twice. He's going to be thinking, when can I make this pass? I'm sure that Dylan feels he has the pace on Vlad Sanchez. I've seen this in other races, so I'm really curious to see when is Dylan going to feel that he has that opportunity. You can see here, this is actually a perfect shot to show exactly how close all these drivers are. Mark Sherman was right with this group, and now he's all of a sudden a little further back. Possibly a mistake that he made. There's Thomas McLeod. Haven't said too much about him currently. He's not racing too close to anybody, but he's definitely holding his own. He's got Anthony Farmer directly behind him. But Thomas McLeod's still holding his own. Not too many mistakes. It looks like Dylan Sanchez made that pass. I missed it, so let's just take a quickie. Here it is. Out of the turn 2 sequence, does Dylan get a better launch? Makes a dive up the inside, and there is a clean pass for Dylan. And that is exactly how Dylan made that pass on Vlad Sanchez, and now has created a little bit of breathing room. It looks like Dylan's next target will be Tom Peters. Tom Peters is definitely one of the faster drivers in our field. there. So he is down 2 spots. Tom Peters, of course, qualified 2nd position. He's down 2 spots. I'm curious, how hungry is he to get back up into where he started this race? Sour Patch Kids may be a little bit sour right about now, and trying to change that situation. Definitely look for Tom to make some passes. There's Brandon Lynn. I think he's in amateur division. I'd have to check. I believe Brandon is actually an amateur division driver. But he's showing some very, very, very strong pace here on this track. You know, there's some tracks that just really jive with a person and some tracks that just do not. So here we are with Brandon Lynn, who just, this track really talks to him, is what I'm seeing here. Here's Christian Rojas in the car, 996 coming around corners 1 and 2. He's getting ever so close to Vlad Sanchez. So Pizza Boy, and so he actually told me a little bit of a story. Malort is a drink that you're supposed to take in Chicago when some kind of cheers or something. I really should read up on that again. But anyways, it's a drink that you're supposed to, in celebration and so on. The Porta, let me see if I can get a closer view. Portillo's is the pizza. Malort is the alcoholic drink, and then there's one other symbol on that car, and he's getting super close to that slowdown. That is super, super brave. Franco Aguirre is now in 4th place. How did that happen? Well, I'm talking about Pizza Boy and the celebration drink. It looks like Tom Peters is making his own celebration all the way up into P3 after losing some of those spots. Is he close enough to Brandon Lynn to make it happen? Let's just take a quick look. How did... No, wrong. Here we go. Here's the pass on... Here is the pass on Franco. Looks like a little bit of a bobble under braking. That car snapped on him. It turned in a lot faster than he was hoping, I'm sure. And there you go. That is exactly how Franco got passed by Tom. And wow, look at this. Dylan Larson has now caught up to Franco Aguirre. Franco Aguirre is at risk of losing that top 4 spot. That, you know, I was saying earlier, we have 3 races, a 10-minute, a 15, and a 15. Now, that second race is a reverse grid of that top 4. What does that mean for Franco? He is in the key position, the key spot to finish this race. He is not happy in 4th. He wants to go for 3rd, up the inside through the roundabout, left, left, left. And he is now put his rear bumper in front of Tom Peters, and Tom Peters has now lost that position. Tom Peters is now the one at risk with Dylan Larson directly behind. If Tom Peters loses 4th position, he loses that reverse grid advantage and won't be able to start on the very front row to have a second chance at seeing if he can run away with the race. We're going to look up ahead at Andres Navarro. He has Brandon Lynn 6/10 behind, 7/10. It goes up and down depending on the corner, and you'll notice some drivers, they gain interval on the braking and then they lose it on the exit. And so it's very telling on how a driver drives based on where they're going to be gaining and losing. And here we go. This is actually the checkered flag. Congratulations, Andres Navarro, for that win in the very first race. Brandon Lynn for 2nd place. Franco Aguirre coming across in the final podium position. And there we go for the post-race celebrations. Cars flying absolutely everywhere. And here is Mark Sherman coming across in 8th spot. There's Thomas McLeod in 9th. He's got up 2 positions. Ivanhoe, after a few spins, down into 10th. And that is a surprise for me from Ivanhoe. Anthony Farmer is going to be coming across in 11th to round out our grid. Okay, I think that right there, I'm going to try and put my microphone right there and see if that helps. And so, I actually want to show you guys, where is it? This. Here we go. Okay, here we go. This is now the starting grid. So that first position of Andres Navarro is going to be in, he is going to be in 4th spot for the start of this race, and that puts Tom Peters, who is in 4th, up to 1st. Franco Gair is going to be in 2nd. Brandon Lynn is in 3rd. Dylan Larson, Vlad Sanchez, Christian Rojas, Mark Sherman, Thomas McLeod, Ivan Ho way back in 10th, and Anthony Farmer. Don't spin, Ivan. I want to see you finish this race. I know you can gain some spots. Let's see what happens. It looks like everyone has now hit the grid, so I'm going to pull that away. We're going to take a look. The lights are up in the middle of the screen, and here we go. Green flag being waved by Barney Tom Peters. He gets a good launch. We're going to take a look at the Bloom Food. Franco Aguirre just getting an even better launch off that green light. Reaction time of a fox. There's Franco Gar. He's going to try and go round the outside for the lead of the race, and he is spun. Andres Navarro, just a tiny bit of contact, and that is an unfortunate outcome. Just a little bit of a mistake at the wrong time, and there goes Christian Rojas as well. A little bit too much throttle on the exit of corner 2 on the on the cold tires, mind you. There is Brandon Lynn. He is now challenging for the 2nd position. A little bit of what just happened? I'm gonna have to take a look at exactly what just happened there. That is ay. So Brandon Lynn, who was challenging, there goes Dylan Larson is in 1st. Looks like Ivan Ho is out. How did that happen? There is a lot of chaos. Let's just take a quick replay. Here is Tom Peters. Well, and there you have it, folks. You guys be the judge. I won't do that. That's not my job. I just tell you what's happening in the race. There goes Brandon Lynn up the inside. A little bit of a touch, and now he's a little bit of a touch of the wall, and he's going to be able to carry on. These cars are quite robust, luckily, and they're able to handle a lot of bumps, bruises. It is a huge advantage of racing the MX5. Huge advantage. You know, a tiny bit of a bump with another driver, and you can still carry on. Absolutely amazing feature of this car. There's Thomas McLeod all the way up in the 4th spot with 5 positions gained. Normally not this high up into the running order. Really curious to see if he's able to hold it together and make it to the end in this position. Mark Sherman hot on his tail. He wants that spot. He's up 3 spots as well. Anthony Farmer is up 5. Some real fortunate situations, I guess. Real fortunate scenarios for some of these drivers. There is way behind the field Tom Peters. He is right behind Christian Rojas. I'm really curious how that one will go. There's Franco Aguirre. He is quite far back after that self-spin incident on turn 1, turn 2. Cold tires, they really will bite you if you're not careful. Not as easy as you might think, trust me. Not as easy as you might think. You really do get into your head about that, because these drivers, you have to remember, are doing lap after lap after lap for the first race. For 10 minutes, they get into the groove of the warm tires, the used tires, and now they have to reset their mind back to cold tires at the start of the race. And you think it's easy. It's absolutely not easy. I like that. Panda Bear. I love that livery of Mark Sherman. Absolutely love it. I see Brandon Lynn. Okay, I have a few passes to look for. So, okay, I got a few passes to look at. So here is Brandon Lynn on Anthony Farmer up the inside. And here is Mark Sherman. Mark Sherman passing. Oh, that would make sense. That's why he made the pass, because he went off. Back to the live action. There's Mark Sherman. He is able to gain an advantage on Thomas McLeod. So Thomas McLeod down into 5th position with 4 spots gained. So this race overall so far is still a huge gain. Huge gain. Lately, Thomas McLeod has told me he's gotten more and more interested in the downforce cars. So coming back into the Mazda, into the MX5, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. This car, obviously, as you can see, does not have any downforce. Makes it a lot more fun to drive, but there's also certain difficulties around that because of no downforce. Oh, and there goes Christian Rose up the inside on Anthony Farmer. He clears him after the apex, and that is a nice, clean pass. And what is that? Oh, and that is exactly... oh, Thomas McLeod went off the track. How did that happen? This track, you have to really baby that throttle. And if you brake a little bit too late, as you can see there, a little bit too late braking, a little bit too much throttle, and off he goes, unfortunately. At the very front of the field, battle is absolutely heating up. Dylan Larson in P1. He is being chased down by Andres Navarro, who is the winner of race 1, of course. It looks like Tom Pierce has made a pass on Anthony Farmer. Okay, and back to the action at the very front. Mark Sherman, what happened to you? Oh, I'm going to have to get back to that because you know what? This battle's heating up and I don't want to take my eyes off of it. I'm going to take a look at exactly what happened with Mark Sherman later on. When I get a chance, these guys are going through a section of track. I heard another crash. We have a lot of action. They're going through a section of track where I know for sure that they won't be making any passes, and I'm going to be taking a look at it as they're going. Here is the Mark Sherman spin, a little bit of a self-spin, and I think because of that, he did stay still. He tried to get out of the way, and it just did not work. Unfortunately, you do have to be a sitting duck. You get out of the way by going off of the track at the shortest distance possible off the track, or you just do not move at all. That movement, as you just saw, it can cause crashes if you move. So unfortunately for Mark Sherman, that was, I think, a little bit on your faults there. Sorry. But Christian Rojas, unfortunately, out. Here we go into turn 1, up the inside. Andres Navarro is poking that nose, but not able to get some sustainable overlap. Thomas McLeod is going to be yielding to the leaders of this race so that they can continue to battle it out. Wise move, follow in tow, and see what you can learn from the leaders of this race. What are they doing different? What am I doing wrong? Here you go, right in front of your face. Dylan Larson has 5 laps under his belt. He is being chased even harder than last lap for this win. Vlad Sanchez much further behind, so there is no pressure from behind Andres Navarro to make the pass in any kind of way that I guess stays classy and doesn't lose pace. He can really get aggressive, get into the mirrors of Dylan, force him to be questioning when's this move going to happen, and just really start poking his nose. There's, of course I say that because when you make a pass, you're going to lose pace. When there's a huge amount of cars, as it's common in the MX5, making a single pass can mean that the cars behind all of a sudden are now on your tail as well. You have to be smart. You have to be wise about it. You can't just make a pass just because you want to. You have to think about it all at the same time as you're driving a car around the track, trying to go as fast as you can without making any mistakes. Is it complicated enough yet? Here is racing at its finest, at the very top level. So Dylan Larson absolutely holding it together. Did a 140.0. Andres Navarro is at 140.5. So that is a sizable pace difference. And I start to wonder, after 8.5, 9 minutes really, if the tires of Dylan are still holding on okay, or are they starting to, and if the tires really of Andres are still holding on, or are they starting to sort of fall off? Now, to explain that a little bit, these tires don't... Oh, is that a little bit close for Andres Navarro? Now, to explain that a little bit, is these cars, these tires on iRacing, a little bit of an educational thing on the tires is that they don't wear necessarily, and that might be a slowdown for Dylan. Dylan has a slowdown from going way out and has gifted the lead of the race to Andres Navarro, but Dylan, don't count him out yet. He has 5 minutes remaining to catch back up to the side of Andres Navarro and try and make a pass back. Both these drivers have gained 3 positions, so they're definitely enjoying this race. So as I was saying, these tires, they go bad, not necessarily from wear, but from overheating them. There's a lot of misconception that, oh, my tires are wearing down. Your tires could have 60 or 70% on the dashboard here remaining, but you'll still be able to set very, very similar pace if you're able to understand how to overheat or how to not overheat those tires, how to keep your tire pressures all within and tire temperatures all within a reasonable range. If you want to abuse those tires in a way that puts way too much heat, they get slick, they get greasy. It feels like the tires are wearing. That is not true. It's just that you've now driven the car in a way that overheats those tires. So you really have to start looking at your own driving to try and figure out how is it that you can minimize the overheating of those tires to hold your pace for the longest term possible, or just hold your pace so that you don't spin, because once you overheat those tires, as you've seen for some of these drivers, tire temperature overall is a challenge. It looks like Franco Gar making an easy pass. I wonder if Mark Sherman just let that one happen. Both these cars have damage. Does he just want to follow Franco through? It looks like he has a little bit more damage than he would have hoped. Let's see. How does it look when Mark Sherman's going straight? Is his steering wheel straight? Let's find out right here from the cockpit view. It looks like his steering is fine. So that was an interesting pass. It looked like he did let him pass to follow in tow and just see what would happen. So after the tire spiel, here we go, back to the very front of the race. This is Andres Navarro, Dylan Larson heading into the turn 1, turn 2 sequence. I gotta show you this with Vlad Sanchez. So with a blimp view, this is quite a treacherous corner. You brake after that first apex, and look at this, you gotta hang it out wide, and that's the difficulty right there. You just saw it with Brandon Lynn's car with his driving with it. You know, that is the difficulty of this track. How do you keep it in tight and not go far off on turn 2 while also trying to manage the heat in your tires? All I gotta say, that is the love that I have for racing in general, is putting all of that together in a formula while you're also driving on instinct. Forget about thought. You gotta think, move, think, react. Not even think, just react. So, and that is what these drivers at the very front, Andres and Dylan, are doing, being the pace setters of this race. Let's take a quick look. What are their best times so far? Andres Navarro is 139.4. Dylan Larson is 139.599. Very, very close in pace, these two drivers. And so you can see it right there. Very, very, very close. It's going to come down to the wire on who is going to be the winner of this race. There is the white flag being waved by Barney. So this is going to be the final lap. This is the very last chance for Dylan Larson to try and take the win of our second race with the reverse gear top 4. Here we go. 3/10 away. So he is able to close that gap at any point, potentially, to make that pass. He is taking a tighter line through turn 2. Is going to be able to pay off. He has got closer and closer. He's going to go for a move up the inside on Andres Navarro. He does. Andres Navarro able to outbrake Dylan Larson into turn 3, and so that leaves Andres Navarro still ahead, but Dylan Larson, don't look too far yet. He is still right there and thinking about how to make that move. This must be the weaker part of the track for Dylan. You can see he was super close, and now 4/10. He was 2/10. You know what? They came out of that about even. I wouldn't say that was the weaker part of the track at all. That was they came out quite close. So, but not close enough for Dylan Larson. Until possibly now, does he go for a dive up the inside? This is going to be the last chance he has all race. Up the inside, Andres Navarro is forced to give him a little bit of space. Andres Navarro getting the better of that battle. He is coming into the very last sequence of corners. This is just a full throttle, send it. Oh, a little bit of a lift actually, and then full throttle, and then send it. Andres Navarro is coming across. Where did Dylan Larson? There he is. Congratulations, Andres Navarro, for winning race number 2. There is Dylan Larson in second position. Congratulations, guys. Vlad Sanchez coming across in third. Up 3 spots total. There's Brandon Lynn in fourth, even after going off. Just a whole bunch of unfortunate circumstances for a lot of the drivers this race. There's Anthony Farmer. He'll be coming across in sixth position. There's Franco Agar. He is not far behind. And then Panda of Mark Sherman. And I think Thomas McLeod has already finished. And then some of the other drivers, Christian Rojas and Ivanhoe. Christian decided to... Let's see, that was B-Main. Christian decided to wait it out because he was in that little bit of a wreck, I guess. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes it's better to get a reset on your mind before you head into that next race. It depends on where your head's at, and I can totally understand wanting to wait. So let's pull up these results. Let's see if this is the right set of results. Heat 2, no, that's not it. There it is. Look at that. Congratulations once again to Andres Navarro, Dylan Larson, and Vlad Sanchez, Brandon Lynn. So there's Thomas McLeod in that second race actually had a really great run until about halfway through. I gotta just point that one out. A little bit of a mistake going into the wall, braking a little bit late and just throwing the car off balance. And before that moment though, had a really great run to be in the top 5, top 6 of the drivers for that race. So just pointing that one out, and then just in a series of unfortunate events. And I think I got through most of the replays on how a lot of those took place. So with that said, I'm going to pull down the results and go through generally what are the top 3 key points, or the top 3 key points for this next race. What would I say are my personal 3 key points? 1, just get a good reaction time. When the lights go green, dump the clutch. Good reaction time. If you don't have a good reaction time, you're going to find yourself potentially in a 3 wide situation going into the corner 1. You absolutely don't want that. You just want to have a good reaction time. Get a good start. Number 2, cold tires. Turns 1, 2, and 3. If you have to give up some positions to just survive, give them up, gain them back later. As we saw, it's definitely possible to get them back later. Believe in yourself and believe in your own pace. Gain them back later. Give them up if you really have to, just to survive. And number 3 is at 15 minutes. It's a decently long race at 15 minutes, and just stay consistent. You don't have to be the lapping hero. Just staying consistent can gain so much for your race. You know, you don't even have to be aggressive. You don't have to just stay consistent and stay safe. That's all I would say. Looks like Dylan Larson, 299, yeah. That Dylan Larson must be driving in virtual reality, testing if his steering wheel is straight, or is it left, is it right, where is it? So that's what it looks like for me, because his steering was all the way to the side, then all the way back to the center. We're just waiting for a few more cars to grid. They have a little bit more time to hit that start button. Mark Sherman is going to be at the very, very front. Is Mark Sherman going to be up for that challenge. There's Franco Aguirre, Mark Sherman. Where's Mark Sherman? Come on, hit that grid. Let's go. Don't start from the pits. No, Mark. And here we go. Okay, so Mark's going to start at the pits. Franco Aguirre is going to be at the very front of our grid. The lights are up in the middle of the screen. The lights are off, and away we go. The good start from Franco Aguirre. He has got that absolutely mastered. There's Anthony Farmer. Tom Peters up the inside. Let's see how this one goes. We're going to watch that timing tower shuffle as we go through turn 1, turn 2. Anthony Farmer doing exactly as, just staying nice and consistent. Don't try and win it or bin it in the very first corner. There is Mark Sherman. He is coming out of the pits. He's going to be way behind. I don't know if that was the strategy to go for, but it's what he did. It's what he decided to do. Anthony Farmer, he is trusting in himself. He is staying nice and safe. There goes Christian Rojas off the track. And he is spun coming out of turn 3. Back to the very front of the field, Franco Aguirre, who started at the very front of the field in P1, and Tom Peters hot on his tail. Andres Navarro, he started in 8th position because of the reverse grid top 8, and he's already made his way into 3rd. Oh! A little bit of a contact, and Andres Navarro, Vlad Sanchez made a little bit of a bump, and we're going to have to take a look at exactly how that one went down. And I do actually want to take a look at exactly how that one went down. And of course, no judgment passed. No judgment passed on my side. I just want to see what happened, just as all of you guys as fans want to see what happened. Good exit out of that corner. Andres Navarro on the inside. And I think that Vlad may have bumped him, or Andres bumped him. You know what? No judgment being passed. I'm just here to show you, the viewers, you, the fans, exactly what happened in that situation. I am seeing a lot has happened while we're watching that replay. I'm super sad. Okay, so let's see. Before we go into the replay of doom, we have some live action right here. There's Vlad Sanchez leading these cars here. Thomas McLeod and Andres Navarro after that contact. So is Thomas McLeod going to play hardball and not give up that position super easily? I would say yes. That is my guess. He's not going to be giving that easily. And Andres Navarro is able to get a better exit. Does he go for that move? He actually backs out. So that was an interesting move to back out. There's a lot of time lost. Oh, and there goes Thomas McLeod, a little bit wide, so a little bit of easy pass actually in the end for Andres Navarro, who won our first 2 races, not to forget. So, and now I want to take a look at Dylan Larson, Brandon Lynn. So these guys, I think they'll be at it for quite a little bit. Let's take a look. Dylan Larson went off the track. Okay, so there's Tom Peters. Tom Peters, it says on my notifications, had a crash. So let's see exactly what happened. There goes Tom Peters. Oh! A front row seat to Tom Peters eating tire. That's gotta hurt. That's all I gotta say. That was not a good moment for him. We got Christian Rojas. He's up 5 positions total. He is 1.5 from Anthony Farmer. And so now if we go back to our 3 key points that I mentioned at the very beginning of the race, Anthony Farmer, we know that he's not the fastest of drivers, but he's out there trying his darnest, trying his best every single week. And you know what? That's what counts, because when you're out there trying your best every single week, that is how you find the gains. You don't get better by not driving, by not racing. Here's Anthony Farmer. But now the 3 key points, that third one of just let people pass, so be it. You gain the positions back later. Look at that. He did start closer to the front. He let people pass, and look at him. He's in 4th spot right now with high potential to finish in a decent ending spot. There you go. You don't have to win the race in the first lap, and that is going to be a huge slowdown for Christian Rojas. He took a lot of pylon. You can see him pulling over to the side right now. There's no way he missed the slowdown on that one. That's all I gotta say. He definitely ate the slowdown there. Now, let me see if there's any other interesting things that happened. I see Tom Peters crashed one more time. And let's just take a look. How did that one happen? I see Tom Peters crash. How? How? Show me. Where's the crash? Where's the crash? No. No crash. My software's funny like that sometimes. Back to the race and the live race. Here we go. This is Christian Rojas. Does he go up the inside into turn one? And that really threw off Anthony Farmer. He did a little bit of a yield, a little bit of a scared of, wow, this guy's going up the inside. Quite brave move, I gotta say, from Christian Rojas. We can actually take a look. How did that one happen? Quite a brave move. A little bit of a luck and a little bit of skill. A defensive line from... Oh, so he didn't even make a move. He just poked his nose. That is... I like that. I like that. You guys, let's watch that one again. Here you go. Christian Rojas, he doesn't even have to make a move. He just makes it look like he's making a move. He doesn't go for overlap, as you can see, and it just fakes out the driver ahead. And a pass by psyching them out. Absolutely love that. That kind of racecraft where you can get into someone else's head. Lovely. Lovely. You don't have to cause damage. You don't have to have a risky move. Get into their head and you can win the race. Love it. Absolutely amazing. Great pass from Christian. Back to the very front of the field, Franco Aguirre had a decent gap to P2, and it's just absolutely disappeared. Let me see if I can pull up his last 5 laps. So there we go for the last 5 laps. So it looks like Dylan, after that gap was created, as you saw from the first few laps. Oh, and Andres Navarro making pass. Okay, so there goes Andres Navarro on Anthony Farmer. So let's take a look at this lap history. Lap 1, 2, 3, 4. Aguirre is ahead after that first lap, able to take advantage of, I guess, being on the front row, of course. Now, Dylan Larson, 6/10 faster, 8/10 faster, 6/10 faster, and that explains the massive gap that is now no gap whatsoever. So I'm going to pull that away. There is Dylan Larson. Brandon Lynn, of course, is in P3. He is ready to pick up the pieces left behind from either of these drivers. If there's anything that happens to Franco, to Dylan, I guarantee that Brandon Lynn, right there in the plaid car, the plaid lad, he is ready to gain that spot back. Christian Rojas, actually, I want to just make a notable mention. He did start at the very back of the field, and he's made his way up into P4. What an amazing drive. You can see the gains, the losses, the biggest losers and winners of this race. Andres Navarro, of course, involved in that early incident with Vlad, so he's a little bit behind the general 8-ball. There's Anthony Farmer just trying to hold it together, stay consistent. And Vlad Sanchez, he is now getting even closer than before to the back of Anthony Farmer. Anthony Farmer looks like he's getting quite aggressive on that throttle pedal, and his rear tires are just sliding him a little bit all over the place. Potentially not. There's Thomas McLeod. He had a great race, and then around this point in the race, he binned it. So, going to be watching to see if he's able to keep his tire temperatures under control in this third race and finish well. At the very front of this race, I'm going to pull up that track map. What's the best, I would say, car number? Come on, where is it? Where is my track map? Whatever. It's not coming up. That's for another day. It comes up sometimes and not others. Imagine that. So these drivers now heading through a real fast sequence. You just have to tap the brakes just a tiny bit Yeah, I see notification Thomas McLeod went off the track. These guys are not going to be making a pass anytime soon, so let's just take a look. How did that one happen? Not to show too much more, but definitely a tricky corner. When you want to get onto the throttle as soon as you can on that specific corner, and when you do, it risks your rear end sliding out or going too wide and then hitting the grass and then doing exactly that. So both happened in that scenario. Is, you know what, everyone thinks, oh, this is easy. No, it's not easy. Try it for yourself. See if you can finish a 10 or 15-minute race without a mistake. I'm telling you, it ain't easy. These guys at the very front, they are well practiced, well versed in their racecraft, and skilled in driving these cars as fast as possible, albeit virtually. But you know what? This is still very much real. The racing is real, and these cars feel like the real deal. I'm going to take a look at what is everyone's best lap time so far in the very front of this field. Brandon Lynn at 139.2. So does that give him the advantage? Poking a nose, trying to psych out Franco as they head through this sequence of corners. I heard an engine blowing up in the background. I don't know what that was about, but sure. There is Dylan Larson. He's trying to fill those mirrors of Franco Aguirre as much as possible. But yeah, with Brandon Lynn having that fastest lap, does that give him the advantage here? Was it a little bit of a draft, or is it really just one of those tracks that totally clicks for him? Franco Aguirre is throwing that defensive line. Dylan Larson is really starting to challenge Franco Aguirre. This has become one heated battle. A little bit more of a bird's eye view of these two cars coming on to the very final corner where you can really set yourself up for a good pass. I can pull down the best laps because those don't matter anymore. These guys are locked in a three-way tango for first place as we head down the start-finish line on lap 8. I think we're going to have about 2 more laps to go. 2 more laps, maybe 3. Brandon Lynn going super wide. I'm going to have to wonder if that was planned or not planned. Dylan Larson even closer. I'm going to take a look at the chopper view. Does he go for a dive up the inside? That was quite brave of Dylan Larson to go for a dive up the inside. Franco Aguirre is being taken advantage of here in this moment. It's going to be a left, and a left, and another left. The shorter distance traveled, is it going to prevail? Franco Aguirre is holding his own round the outside and able to break that overlap. Dylan Larson is now securely in the lead of this race. There's Franco Aguirre now in second place. 6 positions gained from Dylan Larson. What a feat for Dylan. And coming out of this corner, old Franco, is he going to be able to make another move for P1? Dylan Larson is throwing that defensive line. Franco's going to have to go around the outside. It's going to be a light braking requirement for Franco, but it is not an easy line to take, and that puts him at risk of being losing another position there to Brandon Lynn. What is going to be happening in this battle? Nobody knows. Oh my gosh, Franco Aguirre. That was a risky move for Franco, and that is white flag, so it's going to be 1 more lap, and that is an example of the racecraft I was talking about 20-30 minutes ago, where you make a pass and you have to be careful about how you make a pass. You lose pace every single time you go side by side, and you have to calculate in your mind, is it worth it to make the pass right here, or do you want to wait for a better time so that you don't lose any pace? You risk it for the biscuit, or you're going to win it, or win it or bin it. It's a tight margin for error. So Dylan Larson coming around for the very final lap, currently in the lead of the race. He is 4/10. Is he able to create a little bit of a gap to Franco Geyer. It looks like he's started to. Now this corner has really been a decision maker for so many of our drivers. Let's see if he can exit this corner and gain some separation really from that front bumper of Franco. Not really. There may be a hundredth of a second, but not much. Was there any kind of slowdowns that were gained there? I don't think so. The exit's going to be so important here. Not much passing opportunity after this. Brandon Lynn is going to be the third person in this battle. He's getting that slim shot effect. He's going to have an extra speed into the braking zone, throwing him off a little bit. As you can see, missing the apex just slightly. And here is Dylan Larson in the lead of the race. Andres Navarro, the previous race winner, is in 5th, so he is not quite at the very front of the field. Here comes Dylan Larson rounding the very final corner, hanging on to the start-finish straight. Here we go. Congratulations, Dylan Larson, for winning our 3rd race. Franco Geyer for a 2nd place finish, and Brandon Lynn rounding out the podium. What a drive from Brandon Lynn. What an amazing drive from Christian Rojas. He's up into 4th spot with 6 positions gained. What a drive. Andres Navarro in 5th. Vlad Sanchez in 6th. Anthony Farmer coming across in 7th, which is actually a decent finish for Anthony Farmer. That is definitely a win all on its own. There's Panda. Mark Sherman coming across in 8th. Whew. Oh, baby. Junkyard Dogs. Tom Peters still driving out on the track. Tom Peters still driving out on the track. He hasn't quite finished yet. I don't think he's going to make it to these guys. And, you know, let me see if these guys are still there. So here is the gyro camera. Let's see if I can make anyone sick right about now. This is the gyro camera. Nah, didn't. Tom, you're supposed to hit a car flip. Show the fans here the amazing gyro camera. Okay, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. Here we go. Here is the gyro camera. Let's see. Come on. The gyro camera? Come on, guys. No! Come on. Okay, well, you know who I have to take is Brandon Lynn. This is just for fun, but so with the gyro camera, it follows the car in a way that can almost make you sick. Let's see. So it sort of stays with the car level. It doesn't. Yep, there we go. But here we go. There it is. There it is. For anyone who didn't know, that's the gyro camera. If you wanted to feel sick, there you go. You just play a replay in the gyro when you're spinning, and whoo, baby, you know, head to the toilet as fast as you can. Anyways, that now concludes our race. So I'm going to pull up our feature results. Dylan Larson, congratulations for the win of the race. Franco Geyer coming across in 2nd. What a great finish. Started at the very front, able to hold his own, and ended up in 2nd. Brandon Lynn, what a great finish. And then Christian Rojas, another notable mention, finishing in 4th after starting pretty much at the back. Andres Navarro, after a little bit of the bump and go with Vlad, and Vlad with a little bit of a bump and go. No judgment passed. That's up for the stewards, and that's not me. Ended up in 5th and 6th, respectively. Anthony Farmer in 7th. Mark Sherman in 8th. Tom Peters, after that crash, as you saw him go into the tire barriers, ended up in 9th. Unfortunate for Tom. And then Thomas McLeod is in 10th. And I think that now concludes our evening of racing. And with that, I guess I'll say have a good night, everyone. I hope you enjoy the show. And if you don't, then I don't know. What's wrong with you? You don't like racing? No. Um, I hope you all enjoy the show, and I'll see you guys all next week for MX5 Cup Challenge Round 9. See you later.
Race control scoring has ended.